Good morning, all. Yesterday we have seen the different kinds of waste, then basic terms related to solid waste, the scenario of the solid waste management in India, then growth of the solid waste in India, how it is distributed, city-wise distribution, the solid waste, how it is grown year by year, that is given in this table. Variation of this solid waste according to the cities that we have studied. Major deficiencies in the solid waste management, effects of solid waste management. These are the images of the solid waste which is dumped. Composition of solid waste, characteristics of the solid waste, which include physical characteristics, chemical characteristics, and biological characteristics. So in the solid waste collection and transport, is the third stage of solid waste management. That's in the flow diagram of solid waste management here. See this, the flow diagram. First, waste is generated from residential building, commercial building, industrial building. That waste is stored in a suitable containers, stored in a residential buildings, industrial buildings. That stored solid waste that is collected by various methods, collection method, and it is transported through the waste carrying vehicles. Transfer and transportation is done, processing is done, treatment is done. Treatment is given on solid waste, or some solid waste materials are recovered for generation of the energy, and finally the waste material that is disposed of at a site by using any disposal methods. This is a process, various stages involved in the solid waste management. आपण काय पाहतोय, collection, how it is collected, methods of collection of solid waste. Solid waste collection and transport. Which are the factors that are affecting the collection of the solid waste? It depends upon the first kind, types of containers. Types of containers. Second, container location, public health, aesthetics, collection of the solid waste. These are the 5 factors. The types of containers, in which the different types of containers which are used for collection of the solid waste, depending upon the quantity of the solid waste. Characteristics of the solid waste collected, it may be physical characteristics, chemical characteristics, and biological characteristics. Based on that, the types of containers are used. Some of the large storage containers which are used for domestic solid waste collection from the flats, apartments, multi-story buildings. The large storage containers are used, and that containers are placed at the curbs, and that from that container the waste is collected. The large containers on roller, which are used for commercial and industrial buildings. With the help of rollers which are placed to the containers, with the help of that roller, you can move that container, and wherever that solid waste is dumped, that can be collected into this containers. These are large containers which are used for domestic and industrial buildings. Then it depends upon the collection frequency. Collection frequency किती है? Whether the accumulation of the solid waste is daily, every day it is collected, or it is collected to after 2 to 3 days, or after 1 week. How much the quantity that is deposited, its frequency of collection, that is considered. Then space available for the placement of containers. How much the space is available for collection of the that solid waste. Then in residential building, refuse bags are used, which are having capacity 7 to 10 liters. Refuse bags. In our houses, we use the carry bags or refuse bags. You know, black carry bags that are available in market, that we use for collection of refuse. Rubbish bins having 20 to 30 liters capacity that are used. Large mechanical containers are used, which carry the waste to reduce the labor cost. That reduces the labor cost time. Within less time you can collect the solid waste, and the cost is also less. Collection cost will be less. And this must be standardized to suit collection equipment. Large quantity of waste can be collected by means of these mechanical containers. Then it depends upon the container location. Location कुठे आहे त्यावर ते depend आहे. Container location means where the containers are located, at the side of the house or rear to the house, in front of the house. Then alleys which are made, alley lines in our society, special enclosures which are made in the apartments. Then basement apartments in foreign countries, in the basement the containers are placed. Newer complexes. This is the location of placement of the containers. Then public health. So this containers should be collected every day at this specified time on specified day, so that we should avoid any spreading of diseases like malaria or typhoid or dengue. So these diseases that should be avoided. Spreading of diseases by vectors or any insects, that should be avoided. Therefore, it should be collected at specified time so that it should not spread any diseases or any bad odors from that solid waste. Therefore, hygienic condition can be maintained. Samalla, this factor depending upon the type of container, container location, public health, and aesthetics. While collection of the solid waste should be due pleasing appearance, the container should be clean, should be cleaned every day so that it should not spread the diseases or any bad odor. Every day should be clean. The aesthetics, pleasing appearance should be there. म्हणजे कंटेनर्स किंवा नेहमी स्वच्छ ठेवायला पाहिजे जेणेकरून त्यामधनं जे दुर्गंध म्हणा किंवा any order or any diseases should not spread. But this should be clean. Aesthetics. Then collection of solid waste. The 60 to 80% of the total cost of the solid waste management is invested in the collection of the solid waste. Now, total cost, total cost from the waste generation, collection, transportation, and its disposal. 60 to 80% cost is of collection. Collection वर जास्त investment केले जातात. In some countries like Malaysia, which are developing nations, the labor and capital is intensive, where labor cost and capital investment is more. Major problems related to this collection. What are the major problems? There may be poor building layouts. Layout of the buildings, it may be improper. Suppose crowded buildings are still. तिथं जाणं एखाद्या कंटेनर म्हणा किंवा वेस्ट कॅरिंग एखादं व्हेकल असेल तिथं जाता येत नसेल तर त्यावेळेस काय होईल? It creates some problems for collection. Collection करता येणार नाही. If there is a crowded building, poor building layout, if lanes are not proper to reach up to that building, or road congestion will be there. So on a road there is the congestion is there, crowded. There are more vehicles, so that vehicle cannot pass for the collection of the that waste. Therefore, it requires more time. Cost will increase. Leachate may occur. Transport cost may increase. There are some major problems in this collection of the solid waste. Physical infrastructure or for the placement of the containers. Old containers used that are having leakages, cracks, or if it is damaged, then old containers are used. Then it will the waste material, the liquid waste that may leak through that containers, or if it is damaged, the waste may be that through that old containers, the leakage may occur. Therefore, new containers should be used. Absence of systematic methods. Systematic methods of collection absence of systematic methods to collect the solid waste in the apartments, markets, which are having large waste volume, where there is a large waste volume is accumulated. In that case, systematic methods should be used for the collection of the solid waste. Large containers, you have to use large containers or large vehicles that carries the solid waste. So, which authorities are responsible for collection of the solid waste? यामध्ये कुठले कुठले authorities आहेत, councils or any firms involved in the collection of the solid waste? यामध्ये in the villages, in the cities or towns, municipal authorities, district council असेल किंवा एका विलेज मध्ये एखादं firm असेल किंवा authority असेल which manages this collection of the solid waste. So municipal and district council, this is one of the firm. Private firm, they can take contract from the municipal authorities for the collection of the solid waste. Private firms असतील किंवा private firms contract with the private residents. The private residents असतील in the apartments, in the society. Contract is given to private firms to collect the solid waste. Whereas or other agencies that can be involved, that can be appointed for the collection of the solid waste. These are the collections which are made by these authorities. शहरामध्ये आपण पाहतो municipalities असतील, they collect the waste from the various regions, various locations. The district level, at the villages, the waste is collected by the various authorities. So what is the collection process? The collection is of the collection of the solid waste, maybe door-to-door collection in the residential building. The collection is made door-to-door, which is collected in the containers and it is carried to community bins. It is dumped in the community bins. From the community bins, it is carried to transfer station. The transfer station is the transportation of the solid waste is carried from the vehicles. At that transportation, it is carried. Then finally, it is disposed at the site. जिथं ते सॉलिड वेस्ट डंप केलं जातं ते साइट, त्या साइटला ते नेलं जातं. Disposal sites. The types of collection. Types of collection which includes municipal collection services and commercial and industrial collection services. हमें दोन parts केलेले आहेत. For the residential building and industrial building. हे दोन services आहेत. The municipal collection services, that is a authorities, municipalities that collect the solid waste from the residential area. So what are the methods for to carry this waste? The residential buildings. Where it is located, curbs, curbside, alley lines, set out and set back, backyard collection. This is in residential building. This is called municipal collection services. So आपल्या घरामध्ये आपण पाहतो आपण कुठे ठेवतो near the curb or in front of the houses. The waste is collected in dustbins. That is during collection of this waste by the municipal authorities. They carry the vehicle and the waste is that is dumped into that vehicle. त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो घंटा गाडी. त्या घंटा गाडीमध्ये दोन पार्ट्स केले असतात, सुका कचरा आणि ओला कचरा. त्यामध्ये ते डंप केलं जातं. ते लोकेशन कुठे आपण ठेवतो? Location of this container that is placed near the curb side, near the alley line, set out and set back, backyard collection. त्यामुळे कर्ब मध्ये near to the curb side, house owner is the owner of the building who is responsible for placing the solid waste in containers near the curb on scheduled day. ज्यावेळेस ते गाडी येणार त्या दिवशी आपण ते कंटेनर त्या कर्ब साइडला ठेवतो. or in front of the houses, adjoining to the houses. The workman come, collect and empty the container and put back at the curb. त्या कर्बला तो काय करतो? वर्कमन जो डंप करतो तो वेस्ट, तो कंटेनर घेऊन तो डंपिंग केल्यानंतर तो परत त्या ठिकाणी त्या कर्बला कर्ब जवळ ठेवतो. House owner is required to take back that empty container from the curb to his house. This is one of the collection method. Placing the container near the curb side. This is one of the quickest and economical method of collection of the solid waste. त्यामध्ये crews who is involved, driver who carries that vehicle, one or two collectors who collect the dustbins, containers, and they empty the container into that vehicle. So this is the process involved in this collection method. Curbside, there is no need to enter the property. म्हणजे घरात येऊन ते कलेक्ट करत नाही, आपल्याला ते बाहेर जाऊन ते कंटेनर त्यांना ते द्यावा लागतं. सेट आउट अँड सेट बॅक. त्यामध्ये जे कलेक्टर्स आहेत, वर्कमन्स असतात, काय करतात? दे एंटर द प्रॉपर्टी इन अवर हाऊसेस अँड दे कलेक्ट द कंटेनर. त्याला काय म्हणायचं? सेट आउट क्रू. सेट आउट क्रू कॅरीज फुल कंटेनर्स फ्रॉम रेसिडेंट स्टोरेज लोकेशन. जिथं तुम्ही जे वेस्ट आहे कलेक्ट करता घरामध्ये, that collectors or workmen that collect the containers from the houses, they kind of set out to curb or alley line before collection vehicle arrives. तो कंटेनर्स घेऊन कुठे ठेवतो? कर्ब जवळ. कलेक्शन क्रू लोड देअर रिफ्यूज इनटू व्हेकल. कर्ब जवळ ठेवल्यानंतर ज्यावेळेस व्हेकल येईल त्यावेळेस ते काय करतात? ते कंटेनर एम्प्टी केले जातात. अँड आफ्टरवर्ड्स सेटबॅक क्रू रिटर्न द कंटेनर टू स्टोरेज एरिया. जिथं स्टोरेज एरिया आहे तिथे परत तो सेट बॅक केला जातो. Again, it is that container is set back at that location, storage area. त्याला काय म्हणतात सेट आउट अँड सेट बॅक. समजा दोन्ही मध्ये डिफरन्स. सेट आउट म्हणजे काय, द कलेक्टर्स कम into the residential area, they collect that container and again they deposit that, dump that container into the vehicle. That again they set back the container to storage area. Like I want to set out and set back. Third collection method is alley service. The alley service in which containers are placed at the alley line from where they are picked up by workmen. Alley line म्हणजे काय, जसं कर्ब लाईन असतो तसं alley line जिथं आपण कंटेनर प्लेस करतो, that is alley line. त्या alley line जवळ ते वर्कमन काय करतात, that container is picked up by workmen. जे डस्टबिन जे कॅरी करतात, workmen they collect that container and empty that container into the vehicle, refuse vehicle. त्याला काय म्हणतात refuse vehicle. And they dump into that refuse vehicle and they put that container at that alley line. त्याला काय म्हणतात alley service. Fourth collection method काय, backyard service. Backyard service मध्ये workers with vehicle carry a bin. जे workers असतात, while carrying that vehicle they carry the wheelbarrows. त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो ढकल गाडी. ज्या त्या गाडीमध्ये काय करतात, किंवा एखाद्या सॅक मध्ये किंवा एका पिशवीमध्ये काय केलं जातं, solid waste is collected in that sack or floor or wheelbarrow or in dustbins, large dustbins, and they carry that wheelbarrow to the yard and empty the solid waste container in it, which is the yard, backyard, where the solid waste is dumped. That sack or that wheelbarrow is that is emptied into that yard. म्हणून त्याला काय म्हटलेलं आहे, backyard service. Then bin is taken to solid waste vehicle where it is emptied. ते bin किंवा wheelbarrow कुठे नेलं जातं, solid waste vehicle where it is emptied. त्याच vehicle मध्ये काय करतात, ते कलेक्ट करतात. त्याला काय म्हटलंय, बॅकयार्ड सर्व्हिस. Then second काय, this is for residential building. आता आपण काय पाहिलेलं आहे, फॉर रेसिडेन्शियल बिल्डिंग म्युनिसिपल कलेक्शन सर्व्हिसेस. For this methods are used near to the curb, alley line, set out and set back, backyard collection. Samala municipal collection services for residential buildings. Second is for commercial and industrial buildings. That is called commercial and industrial collection services. यामध्ये large movable and stationary containers which are used for collection of the solid waste. Large stationary compactors. Large stationary compactors are used for the collection of the industrial waste. यामध्ये see these containers, rollers are placed to the containers which carry the this waste. See this green color containers are there. Here blue color containers are there. Okay. See this vehicle which carries the biomedical waste. It's a biomedical waste which carries the industrial waste. For these large containers are used. See this image. The person who is dumping the solid waste into this vehicle through these containers. These are the containers. See this large containers which are emptied into this vehicle. This is a vehicle which carries the solid waste. See these images. These are the containers in which this biomedical waste bottles, plastic bottles, which are collected into these containers. This is the yellow bag, blue box, in which this paper materials, papers, boxes, which are collected into this blue bag that contains the papers, newspapers, etc. Collection frequency for residential areas. Every day we collect the solid waste materials which are collected every day in our houses, in our residential buildings, in a society. Every day that vehicle comes, waste carrying vehicle, or once in 2 days in commercial buildings, the daily that vehicle comes and that waste is collected. Food waste maximum rate should not exceed normal time for the accumulation of the waste to fill the container. Normal time for the accumulation of the waste to fill the container. That rate should not exceed for the collection. Time for fresh garbage to putrefy and emit false odors, so that it should not emit any false odor, and it should fresh garbage that can be collected within the less time and within 7 days. That food waste should be collected so that it's not spread any odor or any diseases. So within a specified time, that waste should be collected. This is a collection frequency to maintain the hygienic condition, so that it will improve the hygienic condition, should not spread the diseases, and should not affect to the environment. So this is a collection method. समझला? Third step is collection of the solid waste. This is one of the stage in the solid waste management. Collection, त्यानंतर काय treatment and disposal of the solid waste. So in the exam, they may ask any one method of collection of the solid waste. So in the treatment and processing of the solid waste, how it is done. Don't talk. How treatment is given is solid waste after collection. Collection केल्यानंतर we take that solid waste through the vehicle, containers. मग त्याच्या पुढे काय करायचं? The solid waste, how it is treated, how it is disposed. तर त्यावर काय ट्रीटमेंट करायचं? What processing is done? From that solid waste, some materials, if it is reusable or recycled, that may be separated out. Combustible material that are separated after treatment. The methods which are used for treatment and disposal. These are the methods of treatment. Now my first method काय? Composting. Second is incineration. Third is landfilling. Fourth is pyrolysis. Fifth is recycling. These are the methods of treatment of the solid waste or disposal of the solid waste. See the stages, hierarchy of the solid waste management. See this hierarchy, how it is flows. Most preferred methods, solid waste management, shown by these colors. See this, waste disposal, least preferred. Here arrow is shown. Most preferred method, least preferred methods. त्यामध्ये the waste disposal दिलेलं आहे. वेस्ट डिस्पोजल मध्ये काय काय येतात? रिसोर्स रिकव्हरी, incineration, landfilling. These are the least preferred methods. Most preferred methods are source recycling. Waste is recycled, reuse. Source reduction is done. This is most preferred. This is least preferred. So in that we are going to see this various methods of disposal and treatment. त्यामुळे first method काय? Composting. See this composting, definition of composting. It is a process in which organic matter of solid waste is decomposed and converted to humus and mineral compounds. त्याला काय म्हणायचं? Composting. Don't talk. Composting is one of the method of treatment and disposal of the solid waste. जे organic matter है, organic waste, that is decomposed. Decomposition is done. The waste is decayed in this process and it is converted to humus. Humus मध्ये ते convert करायचं. And mineral compound that is useful for use as a fertilizer. त्यामधून काय तयार होत आहे? Compost. Compost is the end product of composting. Composting केल्यानंतर काय तयार होतं? Compost खत तयार होतं. ते खत म्हणून त्याचा वापर केला जातो. This is as a fertilizer for raising of the crops in the agriculture. त्याला काय म्हणायचं? Compost. This process is known as composting. त्यामध्ये काय मेथड्स आहेत? There are 3 methods of composting. यामध्ये परत 3 types आहेत. Composting by trenching, composting by open windrow composting, and third one is mechanical composting. हे 3 methods आहे. तर मला composting म्हणजे काय? The organic matter of solid waste is decomposed. Decomposition is done. It is mixed with the soil and is allowed to decompose for certain days, and that organic waste is converted into humus and mineral compounds. Therefore, this process is known as composting. त्यामध्ये फर्स्ट मेथड काय? कंपोस्टिंग बाय ट्रेंचिंग. ट्रेंचिंग म्हणजे काय? ट्रेंच. ट्रेंच म्हणजे काय? कोण सांगते? हा, खड्डा. इज कॉल्ड पीट. पीट म्हणजे काय? खड्डा. or any small pit which is exploited. See this trench. Here, this person who is making this trench, workman is making this trench. See this trench. The width and length. Here it is trench is there. With the help of this crane, with the help of this bulldozer, the workman is operating, making this trench. See this is a trench. Width and this is length. So what is the trench size is made? Trenches are having 3 to 50 meter long. Length किती आहे त्या trench? Up to 12 meter long. Width किती आहे? 2 to 3 meter. And depth is kept 1 to 2 meter. These are having width 2 to 3 meter. Length is 12 meter. And depth is 1 to 2 meter. In this trench, the organic waste is deposited. या ट्रेन मध्ये काय केलं जातं? ऑर्गॅनिक वेस्ट हे डंप केलं जातं. ड्राय वेस्ट इज फिल्ड अप टू 15 सेंटीमीटर. 15 सेंटीमीटर पर्यंत हे वेस्ट या ट्रेन मध्ये फिल केलं जातं. लेयर बाय लेयर इट इज फिल्ड. On top of each layer, 5 centimeter thickness sandwiching layer of animal dung. हे animal dung असतं ते त्यावर प्लेस केलं जातं. Dry waste is filled up to 15 centimeter. पहला suppose this is a pit. इथे ट्रेंच आहे. 15 सेंटीमीटर पर्यंत काय केलं जातं? That organic waste is filled up to 15 centimeter. For next, on top of each layer, 5 centimeter thickness animal dung is spread in semi-liquid form. Animal dung, that is up to 5. याच्यावर काय टाकलं जातं? up to 5 centimeter. Animal dung is spread, and above that again next 15 centimeter परत ऑर्गॅनिक वेस्ट टाकलं जातं. पण पुढे और next layer the animal dung is spread. In this way, layer by layer, the organic waste is filled in this layer. Total depth किती आहे? 1 meter. 1 meter पर्यंत तेवढे layers येतील. Okay. So after filling this trench, तर वरून काय केलं जातं? It is filled with soil. Top layer up to this top layer is filled with the soil. Biological action start. मैं यहाँ में क्या होता है? Biological action start within this trench. Start after 2 to 3 days, and decomposition starts. मैं biological action होता है. The insects that biological activity start. They consume this organic waste and it is converted into humus. Decomposition होता है after 2-3 days, and after 4 to 6 months solid waste stabilize होतं. Stabilize झाल्यानंतर किती महिन्यात stabilize होतं? After 4 to 6 months, and it change into brown colored odorless powdery form. त्याला काय म्हणायचं? Humus मध्ये ते converted after 4 to 6 months, and that humus that is useful for use as a fertilizer. Mineral compounds is converted into humus and mineral compound. This is a process of composting. Like I was a trench. This is a trench. Okay. This is a process of composting. See these images of how the excavation is done for making this trench. The second method is open windrow composting. Okay. So from this organic waste, the large materials like broken glass, plastics, plastic bottles, stones of large size, that they are removed, and remaining waste, जे राहिलेली जे वेस्ट आहे ते डंप केले जातात. ऑर्गॅनिक याच्यामध्ये in trenching, the organic waste is deposited, it is dumped. In open window composting, the organic waste that is dumped on the ground. The ground यामध्ये trenches excavate केले जात नाही. On the ground in the form of piles, they are deposited up to height 0.6 to 1 meter height. इथे दाखवलं या image मध्ये. See this. These are the organic waste which is dumped on the ground. When the height किती आहे? Up to 1 meter. 1 meter height is there. The width and length of these piles are kept 1 to 2 meter. In width, length किती आहे? 6 meter. Length, total length is 6 meter. Depth is, width is 1 to 2 meter. Height is 1 meter. This height, length is 6 meter. Width is 1 to 2 meter. In this way, this organic waste is dumped on the ground. Moisture content is maintained is 60%. त्यामुळे जे moisture content आहे 60% पर्यंत मेंटेन केलं जातं. And temperature increases inside pile. The temperature increases in this pile in this dump which is collected. After increasing that side pile, it is turned for cooling and aeration to avoid anaerobic decomposition. It is cooled and aerated to avoid the anaerobic decomposition होने में कूलिंग केलं जातं, कूलिंग एंड एरेशन. तर या प्रोसेसला किती वेळ लागत आहे? How much the time is required? 4 to 6 weeks. ये किती? 1 to 2 months are required for this complete process. Then third is mechanical composting. In this, mechanical equipments are used. Small area is required as compared to the trenching method and open window method. त्यामुळे जास्त एरिया लागतं. मेकॅनिकल कंपोस्टिंग मध्ये कमी एरिया लागतं. कमी एरिया for deposition of the waste. The area required for this collection of the waste, deposition of the waste is less as compared to the trenching method and open window composting. Stabilization of the waste takes 3 to 6 days. This stabilization होण्यासाठी किती वेळ लागेल? 3 to 6 days. त्यामध्ये काय प्रोसेस आहे? So this in which some refuse collection equipments are used, reception of refuse, segregation, shredding, stabilization, marketing the humus. The stages are. This vehicle carries the solid waste and is dumped on this belt conveyor which carries the waste. It is passed to the shredder which separate the solid waste. The processing is done. It carries through the screener. इतने pass होता है. See this. The waste is carried over this belt conveyor. Screening is done. में separation किया जाता. The large materials that are separated, shredding is done in this container. Drying is done. Drying of the waste, and finally it is taken out. 85% to gasifier. The material which are separated, plastic, pulp or paper, organic material that are taken out. The vehicles have aluminium, which carries the aluminium, ferrous metals, 5% metals, 10% to landfill. यामध्ये जे 10% material ते landfilling साठी नेलं जातं. 5% are metals are collected, aluminium, ferrous metal, copper, iron that are collected. This is a process like the mechanical composting. By using mechanical method, the waste is that is carried through various processes and it is converted to and it is recycled and finally it is converted to the land for landfilling purpose and other processes. So these are the three methods. Composting आपण पाहिलं त्यामध्ये 3 मेथड्स आहेत. Composting by trenching, open window composting, mechanical composting. एक composting चे 3 मेथड्स आहेत. त्यानंतर आहे incineration, landfilling, pyrolysis and recycling. This method will see in next lecture. Okay. Here we will stop.